Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Purely jealousy will see someone burn something they want just to stop someone else's pleasure. This is what she tried to do to you, OP, but ended up doing to herself. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. You want to fire me for no reason? Enjoy your factory being closed. A couple years ago, I was working with a placement agency. You tell them what kind of job you can do and what salary you expect, and they'll find you something. They found me a great job, 15 minutes from my home, 3 days off a week, and $22 an hour. 19-year-old me loved it. How this agency worked is that after 3 months, the company you're working at are obligated by contract to hire you. It was a fence factory, so it was really loud. So loud that when you go outside, your ears start ringing. It was also kind of dangerous because the forklift drivers always had earphones on. I also never saw anyone with safety goggles on. You get the idea. There was a lot of safety issues. So for 2 months and 30 days, I went to work every day, on time, never missed a day, and even put in my name to do some overtime on Saturdays. Everything seems to be fine. I had good feedback from other employees telling me I was a fast learner and had potential. One day, OSHA, it's another name, but let's call it OSHA for the story, came in to do a surprise visit. However, the entrance in the front is locked, so by the time the boss opens the door, he had the time to tell us to put on our safety glasses and earplugs. I didn't even know we had some. So OSHA made their inspection and went on their way. Everything was how they wanted it. As soon as the door closed, everyone took off their glasses. Okay, so at the end of that 30th day, my boss asked me if he can talk to me in his office before I go for the weekend. He told me that today was my last day and didn't give me a reason why, even told me that I was a good employee. The way he talked, I had the feeling that he didn't like me personally, so that was it. The agency called me a couple minutes later telling me I will no longer work there and asked me if I knew why, because normally they give a reason why. So now it's my time to be petty. I called OSHA and told them about how unsafe it is there and how they basically put on a show when the inspectors were there. I told the guy on the phone that if the inspector go in the employee's parking lot, there's a door that goes directly into the factory and that door's unlocked. He thanked me, and that was it. 2 or 3 weeks later, I had to drive by the place. It was during the day, so it was supposed to be open. And when I looked, there was no car in the parking lot, and the windows in the front office were boarded up. I couldn't believe it worked so quick. It's been roughly 7 years since, and the place looks like it's been abandoned for years. You quite possibly saved some lives. The place sounds like a death trap if it was loud enough to ruin everyone's hearing and the heavy equipment operators wore earphones so they couldn't hear panic screaming. And our second story. A shoplifter and an angry fire department. So back when I was working in a large electronics store, we had our fair share of shoplifters, some smarter than others. On this occasion, it was a beautiful spring day and the store was bustling with activity. Good conditions if you're a bored employee or a shoplifter. A shady gentleman with a coat that magically got more and more filled out the longer he walked around the store started making his way towards the bathrooms. We'd seen him, but there were enough customers that we couldn't get to him before he started down that hallway. My manager made it in time to yell, "No product in the bathrooms." This is when that wonderful gentleman decided it was more prudent to just try and bail out the fire door by the bathrooms. Unfortunately for him, reading was not his strong suit. Push to open door, wait 5 seconds, then push again to exit. This man made it about as far as pushing the door once, setting off the loudest, most shrill fire alarm in human history. He panicked, dropped all the product, and sprinted out the front door of the store. The customers looked around curiously for the source of the insanely ear-splitting beeping and determined that their lives were not in immediate danger and thus kept shopping. All the store managers were at a loss. Policy is to get all the customers and employees out of the store if the fire alarm goes off, but we knew it was a shoplifter. No lives were in danger. A couple of the connected home employees and I took shelter in the headphone department, donning very expensive noise-canceling headphones to preserve our dying eardrums. For the next 20 minutes, people awkwardly milled about and kept on trying to purchase things while managers, in a very half-butted manner, walked from department to department asking people to leave the store if they felt like it. Then the fire department showed up. Each firefighter climbed down from their truck to individually yell at all of the managers. It took them an additional 10 minutes to figure out how to turn off the alarm as nobody knew where the control was. All the managers, including the very wealthy and lax GM, spent the rest of the day looking like scolded children. And our next story. Not enough notice. I got a job offer this week for a position with a new company making $20,000 more per year than I make now. This company approached me to interview with them and said I'd make a great fit. I put in my notice today for a week and a half from today and requested all my earned PTO be added to my final paycheck. I received an email from my boss a few hours later, who's been out of office all week, stating that they were processing my resignation without paying out PTO because I didn't give them a full 2 weeks' notice, stating this is a company policy. My follow-up email was a gentle reminder to her that withholding earned PTO is illegal in my state, Colorado, and provided her a few references to review. Shortly, I got an email reply to that reference saying, I agree with this and have always abided accordingly, which is a lie because I know other former employees that have told me she kept their PTO as they left. A few minutes after that email hit my inbox, my cell phone rang, my boss calling to tell me they were paying my PTO out in full, but that my last day was today, and in fact, I shouldn't even finish the day and just leave immediately. They pay out the rest of the day, and I should collect my final check in a few hours from our main office. I took some time collecting all my stuff from the office, telling everyone exactly what happened and why they decided to fire me instead of letting me finish out my time. Let everyone know to fight for their PTO when they leave and not to let the company steal it, and shared what I made so everyone has a base level for the upcoming raises in July. I went to collect my check, spoke to my HR rep, and took copies of my emails, which she told me my boss conveniently still hadn't provided, despite the fact HR asked for them already. She happily took my copies and read over them while her face turned to shock. She agreed that what my boss said was blatantly illegal, mostly factually incorrect, and unprofessional. I told them I expect a paycheck for the last week and a half I offered to work before I was fired, or I'll file an unemployment claim. My HR rep said she was calling the CEO of our company before she left for the day. I'll be waiting to hear back on the last part. I ate so much crap at this office over the last 3 years while getting raises totaling less than $1 that entire time, doing the work of at least 3 people. Now I get a chill for basically a month, paid, while I wait to start the new gig. Update. I just got the call from my former employer's payroll department. They informed me that after a conversation with the CEO regarding the circumstances, they've decided to pay out my notice time. I'll have the check in my account by Friday. And our last story. Want the yard so bad? You can have the yard all to yourself. Background. Years before the issue neighbor moved in, we had signed a lease agreement that included we had exclusive use and care of the yard. We lived in an upstairs-downstairs duplex and had the downstairs. It was common for upstairs apartments like this to have no yard rights in lease. We allowed the previous tenants to use our things and would have let her had she not been such an issue and rude. Her kid did not live with her and was there on average 1 day a week. This neighbor was under the impression if they could see it, it was shared, including things in my house. Our upstairs neighbor moved in late fall. We used our yard year-round and still had fully legal fires in the winter. Around spring, she started bothering the manager about it. She wants to use the yard and we won't let her. And her kid keeps asking and we keep telling her kid no. I was shocked. We'd never talked to the child at all, nor her about the yard, and manager had not brought it up to us. Plus, I'm not a monster. The kid could play in the yard without asking. I heard her saying this outside very loudly on the phone. We tried working things out through the manager, went through different options, her and us, front yard, backyard split, front and left, her side yard split, back and right side yard split, front, left side, and 70% of backyard, small walkway access out our back door to the right side yard. All a big fat no. Neighbor did get their own fire pit after they were told they couldn't use ours and threw a fit about it, but failed to pay attention to safety guidelines. This included having a 6-foot plus fire 5 feet from our duplex. 911 was not called, but should have been, and we were not home at the time. Also, video of her and her friends laughing about how it's about to go up and how they have no water to stop it, and laughing harder about how it could burn the house down. Luckily, our dogs and us weren't home at the time. At this point, the daily harassment was insane. She stomped so hard she broke a window in our unit under the stairs. My dog started ripping her hair out from stress because of the non-stop impact noise, we later found out was a basketball upstairs. We moved our dogs out for their health and safety. Then it was petty revenge. We removed everything we owned from the yard. The fire pit, the patio chairs, tables, firewood, horseshoe pits, down to our rocks, everything. Only left what we didn't own, which was nothing but yard. Most of the stuff we gave to our next-door neighbor. Then we told the manager she can have the exclusive use of the yard and all that comes with it. The care, landscaping. Manager was more than happy to get her offer back about yard use and asked when we would be giving her the key to our lawnmower. I laughed and said, "No, she can't use my mower. Even if I did let her, she wouldn't do it. That's your problem now. If I can't use the yard without being harassed, she might as well have it. This is on you." Eventually, they got the point and hired someone to care for the lawn, as there was no way she would, even if she had a mower. We had doorbell cameras at this time that covered our back door and backyard as well as the front yard. She used the backyard once to drag her baby in circles around the house. Once she saw all our crap was gone and she couldn't use it, she was pissed and never used the yard again. Turns out she didn't want the yard, she wanted the crap we owned in the yard. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.